This weekend, the latest addition to the Predator franchise, Prey, drops on Hulu. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the latest Predator film, Prey. My take isn't the right take, it's just my take, and I would love to hear yours. Now, when it comes to Predator, it's one of my favorite films of all time, and I enjoy the entire Predator franchise, even the bad movies. I can just put them on and enjoy them as nonsense, but I don't feel like we've ever gotten a great Predator sequel. Like, I really like Predators, but it's a safe sequel. It's a bit of a rehash of the original one that delivers the experience that I want without having much fresh and new there. So how do I feel about the movie Prey? Do we finally get a great Predator sequel? Well, let's get started talking about the good. And probably the best thing about this movie is that it is a back to the basics Predator film. It strips away the technology, it strips away the convoluted mythology, and it goes back to the original concept about a group of hunters and killers who find themselves facing off against a predator. They don't know what it is, they don't know what's out there, and the tension slowly winds up as the body count rises, and our heroes have to learn how to outwit this foe. It's not about big gigantic spectacle, it's about edge of your seat thrills. It's about being able to outmaneuver your opponent, be smarter than the other people. It's about who's the best at surviving, not who's the biggest and the strongest, and that's what makes this movie work. It goes back to the experience of the original Predator film without rehashing it, without just feeling like it's copying the first film. It delivers the experience of creating tension, putting you on a hunt, giving you these characters that you know have a skill set, and watching that unfold, seeing how they use their skills while hunting animals, how they work as trackers, and then how they apply that to hunting a predator. That's what this movie does really well, and how you can build on the legacy of the original film, deliver the excitement, the action, the thrills, but without just copying aesthetically the original Predator film. When you get down to it, the story here is very basic. There's not a ton of dialogue. It's all about the hunt. You set up a very straightforward arc for our central character, very clear conflicts within the tribe as well as within the area, and then we go off on this hunt for the predator and have the experience of just being in the middle of the tension of all of that. Another nice thing in here is that it's a very brutal film. The Predator movies have almost always been known for their graphic violence, and you absolutely get that here, as the technology is much more primitive, in which case it's not a bunch of people with machine guns and bombs and things like that. These are brutal weapons where someone is swinging a hatchet, a dagger, a knife, bows, arrows, things like that that inherently are vicious by nature. Likewise, they go out hunting animals, and you see them getting killed, as well as predator hunting things besides just humans. And so it just gets down to that gut, brutal, vicious nature of the story and puts that front and center. Another nice touch in here is our lead character. I'm not sure that I've seen the lead actress in anything before this, but she's absolutely able to carry this film. And perhaps some of that is because it's not a dialogue heavy film where you need this super charismatic person with a massive screen presence. You need someone that can believably pull off the maneuvers that she's pulling off, and believably be someone in this environment that you can see their observational skills and their wits and their cleverness. And she's able to do all of that and is able to get involved in the choreography, and like she gets in fights with people, she's using weapons, and then a lot of just stealthily trying to outmaneuver things. You believe her in what she's doing in the film. Another nice touch in here is just the handling of the Predator without wanting to go into spoilers or anything like that. Not that there's a ton that you could spoil about this film, but the Predator is new to Earth, and this is several hundred years in the past. So while they're still more advanced than us with their technology, the technology of the Predator is less advanced than what we see in all of the other Predator films. And so it's just kind of different tech, as well as the Predator eyeing all of the creatures on the Earth, learning about what's on Earth. And it's just kind of a different way to experience the Predators. They're trying to discover who are the great hunters, the alphas, the apex predators on this planet for the Predator to face off against. And so in doing so, it's able to kind of expand the mythology in an interesting way without just getting so convoluted and messy like what happened in The Predator a few years back. You get the experience, you get the thrills, you get the brutal, visceral action, you get the hunt, but without just copying and rehashing what happened in the original film. And I think that's what makes this a really good addition to the franchise and a clever way to do something different without needing to out-spectacle the previous films. And I feel like this movie is a template that other kind of aging franchises need to learn from. Because so many franchises, when they do their legacy sequel, their reboot, all that stuff, they just try and go bigger, more CGI, larger. That's what they go for. It's all about the spectacle. And this one trims the budget, goes smaller scale, and I think that's what makes it refreshing, new and different, and an interesting addition to the franchise. And if the compromise that has to happen for us to be able to get movies like this is that some of them go to streaming instead of theaters, I'm okay with that compromise. I would have preferred to have gotten to see this movie on a big screen, but if the compromise to get this movie to exist is that it goes to streaming, that's a good compromise to get these interesting alternative takes that aren't just trying to rehash what happened before, except bigger and more CGI. With all that said, there's a few things in here that didn't exactly work for me, so let's move on to the bad. Now, going into this movie, my biggest concern was the handling of the female lead protagonist in the movie. Now, I don't really have any issue if an action sci-fi film has a female lead character. Two of my top 5 favorite movies of all time are Aliens and Terminator 2, both with a female lead character that are totally convincing. So it wasn't that, but it was more so the first full trailer kicks off with a line of dialogue that just portrays the characters having a chip on their shoulder.
Why do you want to hunt? Because you all think that I can't.
And it's that sort of thing where it just wants to put it in your face, like she's going against gender norms, and it's so heavy-handed that normally rubs me the wrong way because it's not about telling a good story, it's about making a point. And the first half of this movie does lean a bit heavily into that. There's not a ton of dialogue in the movie. There's not a bunch of depth to the characters, in which case the majority of the dialogue and the discussion is about, well, you're a girl, should you be going on a hunt? Well, I want to do this just because you don't want me to. It's a lot of that was just pretty heavy-handed when that's all of the dialogue in the film. All of that said, the actual story itself of how she's incorporated into this journey, why she's hunting the Predator, how it plays out in the third act, I thought it worked on a story level. It made sense what she was able to accomplish and why she could succeed in certain moments in light of the skills it demonstrated her have. On a story level, it worked. Just kind of that dialogue side of things. Last week, I posted my initial reaction to the film, and I got some comments from some people like, the Predator would never pick a 100-pound girl as the alpha predator to face off against. That's not how the movie plays out at all. Other people said there's no way that they would let her join the tribe and lead a hunt against the Predator. Once again, that's not the way that the movie played out. Then someone else said something like, there's no way that a 100-pound girl could be the person that could defeat a Predator. It made me think to myself, you are aware that the reason that Dutch was able to beat the Predator wasn't because he's built like Arnold Schwarzenegger and could beat the Predator in an arm wrestling match. Dutch won because he outsmarted and outwitted the Predator. So I think some of the criticisms people have been raising, the movie itself doesn't play out the way that any of the speculation was mentioning things. A lot of these criticisms of the film are based off people inventing a plot for the movie that's just not there. It does not play out the way people are guessing it's gonna play out, in which case the criticisms don't apply. Go into the movie, give it a fair shake, look at what it actually presents, and judge it based off of that. I think there is some fair criticism of the fact that the dialogue plays too heavily onto she's got a chip on her shoulder, all the boys are looking down on her. It does that pretty heavy-handed, but the actual way it plays out, why is she able to be successful? I think it makes sense in the story. It's not her all on her own. There's all sorts of other people also involved trying to take down the Predator on this journey, and so that's the way it actually plays out in the story. Real quick, before I give you my final thoughts on Prey, be sure to join me down below in the comment section. Let me know, what did you think about it? Also, come back this weekend. I'll be ranking all of the Predator movies, and if you're interested in my opinion on other sci-fi action franchises of the 80s, check out this playlist right up there where I've talked about Aliens, Terminator, all that fun stuff in the past. In the end, I think it's safe to say that this is the best of the Predator sequels, and that's coming from someone that really likes Predators. Whereas Predators was a little bit safe and a bit of a rehash, this does something fresh, new, and different with the franchise while still delivering the experience that I want from a Predator film. Maybe a bit too heavy-handed with some of its messaging, but the character with the chip on the shoulder, besides that, it delivered the experience, the brutal action, and the thrills that I want from a Predator film. Overall, I'm gonna give this one an A- on the entertainment scale, an 8.5 out of 10, and absolutely give this movie a chance if you're a fan of the Predator franchise. If you enjoyed this video, I've got more like it. Check out that playlist right over there where I've talked about the Terminator movies, the Alien movies, the Matrix films, and more. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much. Bye-bye.